Welcome to Game Crunch, your weekly video game podcast. My name is Mike Anastasia. With me today, we have Brandon.
Hello,
We're here to talk about games and things.
games and some things.
Yes. I'll just sum it up here. Steam Next Fest is going to be a lot of it. I just have some random stuff to talk about. Since you have so many things, how do you
I
want to
have
do this?
so many things. I want you to ask me about pick one, and then let's go from there because you can see my list right now.
Okay, well, let's just do the let's just do the easy one on this list. KOTAMON sounds like a great game to start with.
All right, so this game is called KOTAMON. My sis found a super rare card in her cereal box, so I became a garbage man to find the entire collection and earn $1 million. This game, is it's kind of like a idle clicker like game, but not at the same time.
Okay.
So essentially, you are a garbage man, but you're more of digging through the piles of trash, looking
Uh-huh.
for other cards that may have been thrown out so that you can collect the complete collection of KOTAMON, which is obviously like a little Pokemon thing, but it's done with like waifus and cute girls instead of Pokemon. And you can upgrade yourself to be able to like carry more trash by getting bigger trash bags and upgrade the speed at which you can pick up the trash, and the way you do that is by gathering the actual trash up while digging through it for cards, and then selling the trash to like a recycling place essentially, and getting your money that you can then use to upgrade yourself and your ability to dig through more trash. You can upgrade things such as your bag, which is the size of your trash bag, your energy, which is how much energy your character themselves has before you get tired and have to take a small break by either waiting a few minutes or by drinking beer.
Uh-huh.
Which then brings me to the next thing that you can upgrade, your buzz. And your buzz is the amount of energy you regain from drinking beer. So you'd have to spend some of the money you just made from collecting the trash and sorting it to buy cans of beer that you can drink to regain your energy so you can continue digging through trash, so you can look for more of the KOTAMON cards so that you can take them to your workshop and like clean them up. So you'll clean them up by like fixing whatever's like dirty or nasty about them, so like getting like the dirt and grime off of them, as well as doing things like putting together pieces of cards if they've been ripped up, because as you're digging through the trash you'll also find pieces of cards instead of the entire cards sometimes. And yeah, it was just a very chill and silly game about collecting collectible cards inside of a literal trash dump and putting them back together to make a profit off of them. It's like silly and weird, and I played it for like an hour and a half or so. So no,
Okay.
2 hours, 2.5 hours. So each one of these demos slash trials that I got to play during Steam Next Fest are going to be between like 4 hours and like 35 minutes, so somewhere in there. So it depends on what the game is and what the content of the demo is,
Mm-hmm.
how much time I got out of it. So that one gave me about 2.5 hours, but it is essentially just a idle game slash like collection game with some like restoration like mechanics in like a very silly way tacked on. It's fun. I just was chatting with friends and playing it for a little while, and it was enjoyable.
What? So what does the game actually play like?
All right. So essentially, you have gigantic piles of trash in front of you, and you
Okay.
dig through them to literally find the pieces of cards, put them back together, and then restore them back to what they were. So it's like I said, it's literally a just silly little idle game where you would walk up to the trash pile, hold like you were playing like Cookie Clicker with like a clicking thing to dig through the trash, put a bunch of stuff inside the trash bags, then go bag the trash bags up at the recycling place that you're at, and get money for them that you then spend on upgrading your character. It's just a time waster little idle thing. And it was the first game I started playing, and for some reason it was like a lot of fun, even though it was a very nothing burger of a game.
Uh-huh.
But it was just, I don't know, it was just really chill. So I guess that was the main reason. There was another game that I did play immediately after this that was much better in my opinion, which was called Cozy Game Restoration,
Okay.
where you work at a shop and these people will deliver like old games to you to like either repair or to like clean up. So you'll get like games that literally have like GameStop stickers on them that you have to like put the correct adhesive on to take off the stickers without causing too much damage to the label, and then you have to like clean up the label and the scratches and clean up the gunk in between the little crevices and stuff. And that was a very silly I wouldn't even say it was silly. It was just literally like a cozy game. Just like you could turn your brain off and work on that. It was like kind of simish, but not. And when I say sim, I mean like simulation, because you had to like get the different brushes in there, and you had to actually like scrub it and everything. And there were different collectibles that you got for doing so, and it was like a like simulation, like running a business, like something like that, like a restoration business. Like you see those like TikTok videos where people like clean up shit, and it's like, oh, okay, something in your brain goes, ooh, that's cool. I like
Yeah.
that. But that's a whole video game. But it's about cleaning old video games.
Okay. That's interesting, actually.
So I spent like 70 minutes, maybe an hour on that one.
Uh
That
huh.
one was pretty cool. You were able to clean up like I think 4 days worth of items, so like an item a day, and there was a lot to it. It's kind of like like the games like Power Wash Sim, but on a much smaller scale. Like literally, you know, getting in and scrubbing all the little details and cleaning it up as much as you possibly can, that sort of deal. So it's like a smaller scale version of Power Wash. And it was chill. It was cool. I liked it.
Okay. Sounds interesting.
Yep. So I got a bunch more games here in this list. So what else would you like to hear about from here?
Okay. Let's see. Dead as Disco?
This is not a demo. This is a game I purchased. This is $20, and this is a incredibly good game. So let me explain what this one is. This is a combination of like a rhythm game and Devil May Cry. That is the easiest
Okay.
way to explain it first and foremost. So in the game itself, it has like a selection, sort of like Mega Man bosses, where you get to choose each individual Mega Man boss, and you have to fight like the enemies to get to said boss,
Uh-huh.
and then do the boss fight. But it's all kind of in one arena that keeps changing. And the way this works is you start out and like the boss is going to be in front of you. He'll say some shit and whatnot, and then he'll start sending his lackeys to you. You'll fight his lackeys. After you fight his lackeys and defeat them, it'll move on to the next stage, and then you'll get to fight him eventually after going through a certain like amount of his lackeys and little enemies that you fight, all to the beat of the music that's playing. When you're fighting in the boss battles, the music is curated. It's the songs that are made specifically for the game and that sort of deal. When you're not fighting the boss battles, you can play any custom song that you have as long as you know the BPM of the song, and it will sync the game to your own music.
Oh, it's awesome.
And it is fucking cool. This game is awesome, so I'm going to at least show you right now, because I do have a video from me playing it, so you can at least get a little bit of a better idea, and you can help me explain it a little bit.
Yeah.
So this is me playing the single player, and the single player, like I said, is essentially a boss rush with multiple different types of bosses. You got like blocks and dodges and counters, similar to something like the Arkham games, like the Batman Arkham games, or older Assassin's Creed maybe. But the actual combo system is more in line with something like your Devil May Cry's, your Ninja Gaiden's, that sort of deal. It's more like a character action game where you are fighting to the beat of the music that plays, and you have to continuously dodge and attack and do combos on all of the enemies to be able to like build up a meter so that you can do better and better and that sort of deal. And then as you go through different waves, you go to different phases of the boss. But you can drop the beat by being hit by enemies. You can also drop the beat by missing a beat if it comes in at a time that you're not expecting, or if you get hit by an attack. What you want to do is keep the beat running pretty much at all times so that you can keep your hearts, because you only have a certain amount of them. When you first start the game, there's like a skill tree, but you don't get to use it right away. So when you first start the game, you have 4 hearts, and that's it. So you have to defeat an entire boss in 4 hearts. So you can't take more than, like, I think 6 hits, because if you're playing normal mode, I think there's some attacks that do less damage compared to when you're fighting the boss in his final 3 forms. And it's super cool. Like, all the music works really, really well. All the entire arena areas are like a spectacle to behold. They do all this really cool shit as you're playing, and it's sick. The game in general is awesome, and there's a bunch of different mods that people have done for it. So, like, I've seen people do like the song Billie Jean by Michael Jackson dressed as Michael Jackson.
Oh,
It's
that's fun.
cool as shit. It's
Yeah.
so neat. So yeah, this game is awesome. It came out, I think, a month ago. Like, it's very new. And it's in early access right now. Yeah, I sent you the Billie Jean thing so you could see. So yeah, this is not out yet. It's still in early access. It just released a month ago into early access. But there's already a lot here, like a ton, and the fact that it has the ability for you to play your own custom songs, and obviously if you want, you can also mod it and do all these special things as well. There's a lot of legs here for this game to be able to do a lot of things with it for $20, and it's just really fun in general to play, and it's a really cool way to like play a rhythm game. It's very different from what I've seen from any other kind of rhythm game, and it's just really fun. It's awesome. There's actually a website that has been developed by the community. I believe
Uh-huh.
it's like Disco Maps or something like that, where people have been making their own maps that you can play. So I've been doing a lot of those, which is super neat. And then I've also had people find me songs, and I would like play the songs that they showed me. And yeah, it's cool. It's super cool.
Yeah, the
I think
Billie
this game's
Jean video
awesome.
is pretty cool. Yeah. It definitely, especially with a song that I know, you can see it work much better.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, I think that looks like it's a lot of fun.
Oh yeah, it's awesome. I think this game is going to be great when it releases. Right now, there is 4 bosses with
Hmm.
3 more coming out in the future, but also unlimited ability for you to use any of the songs that you want in it. So there's that. So it's kind of got so much replayability, even with it just being an early access game right now. It released, like I said, a month ago, and this month is their 1-month anniversary, and they put it back on sale because of the fact that it's their 1-month anniversary. That's why I ended up picking it up. It's normally like $25, and I picked it up for 20. So it's not a big sale, but it's $5 off. So there's
Okay.
that.
Yeah.
It's cool. It's just awesome. I really like it.
Yeah, it looks like a lot of fun. And definitely good. I mean, obviously, since you can put your own music in it, mileage may vary depending on, what you're using.
Yeah.
So, that's great.
So yeah, highly recommend Dead as Disco. That's probably something we'll be coming back to later because I really, really like this game.
Okay.
So I
So
will definitely be
definitely,
like checking back in on this game throughout the year as it develops,
as
essentially.
things happen.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
great. Yeah, no, it looks like a lot of fun.
And I have like 68 or 70 custom songs in mine alone. So there's that as well. So it's like, okay, this is fucking cool.
Yeah,
So
no, that's great.
all right, now time for your next pick.
All right, let's see what's next on the list. Let's see. We did Dead as Disco. We talked about Kotamon.
Yep.
Truck Coon.
Yes. Okay. Truck-kun is kind of like a Katamari like game,
Okay.
which I'm saying, like, you have a certain amount of time to do something in, and it's kind of like a puzzle to be able to do the thing in the amount of time that you need to do. The way this game works is there's a genre of anime that's called isekai, where someone dies and gets reborn in another world, essentially. There is a subgenre of that and a sub like terminology and stereotypes where one of the ways is being hit by a truck,
Okay.
and the community called that truck coon, who would send people to another world, like whatever that world is. And this game heavily leans into the humor of something like that. And essentially, you are a delivery driver who has hit a woman and
Okay.
you have sent her to another world. She is dead, but she could still communicate with you. And what she tells you to do is to just run over everyone in town and send them to her, because they will be isekai'd to her and will become the monsters that she can then kill, and then that will send them back in a loop back to their original world, and then so on and so forth, so that she can escape from that world and come back, is your way of apologizing for killing her, essentially. And how this game works is there are people roaming around on the streets, and you need to run them over. As you run them over, you send those people to the girl you initially killed at the beginning of this game with your truck, and she defeats them because they've turned into monsters now. And after she defeats them, it allows her to power up and become stronger, so that she can go and take on the Demon King. And once she kills the Demon King, she should be able to get a scroll of resurrection that allows her to come back to life. And that's essentially what's going on here. But it's a time-based thing where you have so much time, all of something like Katamari Damacy, or all of something like Outrun, where you are flying around the entire open-world city with your truck, running people over, sending them to her so that she can defeat them and level herself up so that she can get stronger, so that she can take on bigger enemies. And while you're doing this, obviously someone's going to notice you continuously mowing down civilians with your delivery truck. So as this happens, the police starts getting called to you, and you have to defeat the police in the real world to send them to her to make bigger monsters so that she can defeat them in the fake world that you sent her to, so that she can get more powerful. It is very silly. It is very much a time attack little bite-sized game where you're trying to earn stars by doing things like drift hitting people, or getting more time by running through and doing deliveries a la Crazy Taxi, while you're also destroying people and sending them to meet her so that she could destroy them and send them back, so that you can rinse and repeat to get her more powerful so she can come back from the dead. This game's super, super fun. It's so very just nonsense, but it's just the kind of nonsense that's like arcadey fun. Like, it feels like an old school arcade game, like those Crazy Taxi games, or it feels like something like a Katamari Damacy, where you go into levels, you have a certain amount of time to do something, you do the something, you go into another level, and that's essentially how this game works. This game was a blast, so yeah, this one's fun.
It sounds really interesting. Yeah, I mean, there's definitely some interesting games here. Were these just all featured from like the Steam?
All of these are from Steam's Next Fest, which is
Okay.
just a bunch of games coming out in the next year or next few months or so,
Uh-huh.
and like you can play them right now. So it's like if you were to go to a convention like MagFest or something, and you see all the indie games that people are presenting and showing off, but instead you can just download them directly on your computer right now and play them for a certain
Okay.
amount of time. And that's how Next Fest works. So it's like a bite-sized little experience where it's kind of like going to a convention and getting to play all these people's upcoming games and getting a bite, like a small bit of, information and how to play, and experiencing it yourself while never having to leave your house, which is super cool.
Yeah, there's lots of neat stuff on there. And I feel like you had really cool stuff last year too. When we
Yeah, and
talked
some of that
about this
stuff
stuff.
actually ended up releasing, and then we talked about it too. So like,
Yeah.
yeah, I think that's the cool part about it, because you do get to experience these games that will release in the future that you can then buy in the next like few months to a year,
Uh-huh.
and then you have to talk about them when they actually come out as well. And I just think that's neat.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So I got a bunch more here, and I will run through a few of them.
Okay.
Surprisingly, you didn't pick my two favorite games from this entire list,
Yeah.
so I'll tell you what they were. Uh, Kaido Genkai is probably my favorite game from this list, and this is a racing RPG.
Okay.
So the way this works is essentially you are in an open world. There is a plot that is going on, and you have to go around to different race car drivers that have individual characters and that sort of thing, and talk with them and follow a sort of plot. So you drive up to actual cars on the street, you'll like not honk your horn, but you'll like start conversing with them, and it'll progress the plot and the story of the game, and then you'll have to do like little missions based off of whatever car you've decided to essentially walk up to and talk to. This demo was like an hour and a half, and we don't know when this one's coming out. I think this one's going to Kickstarter, so there's that.
Okay.
But the amount of content that was here was super awesome. So what you would do essentially was compete in races to get reputation by walking up to someone and challenging them to a race. And there would be like an open world map where you would drive to them and then challenge them, and then you would get reputation, which would level your character up. And as you got more reputation, you were allowed to take part in more races. I think the thing that makes this game so different from any other kind of racing game is the fact that it is a open world, like cell shaded, like old school looking racing game, and also the actual gameplay itself is again very arcadey and very different from what you get nowadays. You've got all these like simcade or simulation racers, and that's essentially where you're at on the market of racing games right now in its current state. But this is like fully like arcade, fully like doesn't really take itself seriously. It's you are a driver, your mentor has been injured, people are blaming you for it, but you got to get into their good graces, so you drive around and you do missions, and you also do races. And as you do that, the missions might be something like, oh, this person was delivering tofu, but they wrecked their car, so you have to drive around the open world and try to find the packages of tofu that they had lost. This game most reminds me of something like Diddy Kong Racing, to be completely honest. So if you like the idea of that, that's essentially what you're getting into here.
Okay, that
And
sounds awesome, actually.
it is. It is absolutely awesome. I had a blast playing this one. Like, legitimately, I think this was my favorite game of the entire bunch. I really hope it does well if they do end up going to Kickstarter, and if they don't end up going to Kickstarter and they do just get a actual release for the game, I'd be super excited to see how this ends up turning out, because this game's awesome.
Okay.
So
yeah, it sounds like a really cool game.
So that, and then my other favorite game of this list was Normal Golf Game. Normal Golf Game is anything but. So let me explain how Normal Golf Game works, because oh boy, this game is difficult to explain.
Okay.
So this game's called Normal Golf Game, and you are a person that show up out of the blue at this golf course area, and you've been kind of trapped here. The person that invited you tows your car and traps you here, tells you owe him $100,000, and he won't let you leave, and you've got to do a bunch of different things to be able to leave the golf course. This game feels like a combination of like rage games mixed with something like the Stanley Parable.
Okay.
Where it's not quite right. There's some dude that's telling you to do stuff and you don't exactly know the reason why, and as you explore more into the actual game, it gets weirder and weirder. So a few things to talk about here. This game is made by the person that made Fruit Ninja, so that's weird.
Yes, that is very weird.
But also, if it was just a normal golf game, that would be fine. You know, it would already be weird with the general premise. However, what if I told you the way you actually swing your club is by individually adjusting every part of your body and also adjusting every part of your club at the same time to be able to take any kind of shot? That's what makes this game so difficult and so different and weird. And I've shown you it now. I sent you a video of it. If you look in the video I'm showing, you'll see there's like little boxes that show up when you go to take a shot, and that's what you have to do. You have to like individually adjust your character stance and then grab your character's arm in the silhouette and like pull it back and then actually pull it forward by moving either the control stick or your mouse around in circles to be able to decide how much power you put behind your swing, while also adjusting the slice of the golf club and how it's hitting the ball. So you are doing like all these different things at once. You're picking the club you're using. You're adjusting your stance, and you're also using like Q and E to adjust an ever moving like like oh my god, how can I describe this? Let me think for 1 second. You're adjusting like an ever moving sight line, like line of sight, like where the ball will land. But while you're adjusting your stance and while you're adjusting your swing, you also have your club moving in a different direction. So you have to continuously like press Q and E to get it right in the center if you want to hit it right down the center, or make it so that you can swing it and get it and like, you know, make the ball actually slice so it curves around something. And it's a very difficult to master, but kind of easy to understand as it's being presented to you, because the tutorial of this explains it in such a good way that it just kind of clicks really quickly.
That's good.
And it looks more complicated than it is,
Okay.
but it's also like it's 100% there just to make you angry. Like it is to make it as complicated as it possibly is to golf. But this is also an open world kind of like escape room / you're trapped here sort of game as well. So when you aren't golfing, you can hit tab and then you just go into an actual first person mode where you can walk around the entire golf course and the areas and explore different parts of the actual game itself before like picking a new place to tee off at by again hitting tab. I don't know how on earth this game will work on console, if it ever does go to console, but this is one of those really weird, really different kind of games that comes along every now and again, because it does feel like it's doing something kind of like the same, like something like Getting Over It with Bennett Foddy, or like QWOP, for instance, where you have to control a lot of different parts of your body at once to be able to actually do like a basic thing. And in this case, that basic thing is just playing the act of golf. However, here it makes sense, and it kind of adds to the tension of like, yeah, what the fuck is going on here? And then it will just get like really silly, where he'll be like, hey, see if you can hit this golf ball into a giant toilet. How did it get there? Don't worry about it. It's just there now. And it's like, oh, okay, sure. So it just does like really silly things like that. But at the same time, the actual mechanics are like, there is some difficulty there, but not like I'm going to hate myself difficulty. Like, you got to learn what the game wants you to do, and as you learn it, you're like, oh, okay, and then it clicks, and it's really cool when it does click. And then you're
like,
also
this is what I
questioning,
want.
like, hey, what the hell is going on? Why am I locked into this golf course area? Why did this man tow my car randomly? Why did he take $100,000 from me? Why am I playing golf here? Why don't I just leave? Why can't I just leave? And I think that's going to be what really drives the game forward, alongside its really interesting like gameplay mechanics, such as like having 4 separate windows to do one thing open at once. And I thought this game was a blast to play. It was so much fun. So.
Yeah, it looks like it'd be a lot of fun. I mean, maybe not quite my type of game, but it looks like a great time. Yeah.
Yeah, so I will go through a few other things I have here, because I did play some other things. There's a subsection of games called Friend Slop now that a lot of people are putting out.
What's that even mean?
So it's games that are co-op games that are just like meant to be. You pay like $5 for them. You play for a couple of hours with friends, and then you just kind of throw them away. They're like nothing burgers, that sort of thing. They're just kind of like
something just fun, but not something you're gonna play like.
Yeah, exactly. So there are games like Peak, which we've mentioned before, which is very good. It's essentially like this game is made specifically for you and friends to play and nothing else. And it's like kind of like the fast food of video games. That's sort of what it is. It's like a fast food co-op video games. And I played 2 of them. One was called Grain Rot, and Grain Rot was one of the ones that my friends suggested. And as I was playing this one, I noticed some things that didn't feel quite right about it. Like the game
Yeah.
didn't really explain a lot of its mechanics. It was felt like it was hastily put together. It felt like it was being held together with like duct tape and hopes and dreams. And then come to find out the entire game was basically made with AI. So it made a little bit more sense why nothing made sense in the game
Yeah.
itself. So there was that. That game wasn't necessarily bad, but it definitely felt like there's nothing here.
Okay.
There were some ideas. You play as these different robots that are in this random building out in the desert, but you can't go outside the building because the sun will basically light you on fire and you'll die. So you're trapped here in this building, and this building has a elevator that leads down to multiple different rooms and areas that you go to, and each one of them are populated with like hostile creatures and enemies. And it essentially is Repo, but like a worse version of the game Repo, which already exists. Repo is a game that is also in this category of like co-op friend slop like games, as people call them. And Repo is actually very good, like because it's one of the originals, and it's very well done, and it feels like it actually has all its mechanics and ideas laid out for you so you can figure them out. Whereas this one felt like it just wasn't really telling you a whole lot, and it didn't feel like it was, oh, I just want to be secretive. It felt like the game just really didn't understand what it wanted to be, and it was a bit sloppy. Essentially how this one worked was you would go down the elevator, you would collect a bunch of stuff, you would get credits and money, but there were 2 different kinds of credits, and one credit was like so that you could get perks and abilities, but the other kind of credit was so you could get these like gotcha machines, those little gachapon balls and stuff. And when you put your money inside that machine, which was a separate kind of credit than the one you would normally get, and you had to actually seek out these credits, it would get you items that you could then use to build up your house and make it look better that you were inside of. And each room, as you put more furniture inside of it, leveled you up so you did more damage for no reason whatsoever. And it seemed just kind of sloppily put together, essentially. It was fine, like it was okay, but it definitely was super rough around the edges. It had a lot of moments where I essentially got soft locked multiple times.
Okay.
It would allow you to leave without the rest of your friends and completely fuck them over. And
Wow.
yeah, it was just a very hastily thrown together game that felt like it didn't have any thought or reason behind it. And it kind of was not terrible, but it just kind of sucked.
Yeah, it sounds like it would leave like a sour taste.
So there was that, but there was another game, and this one I actually thought was really good. It was called Project Doors, and Project Doors was a game, same genre, where you were playing as these guys that have to go inside these doors that keep popping up places, and the doors can lead anywhere. I mean, anywhere. Could lead to the back rooms, could lead to like the buildings being on the ceiling and something a la like Inception, could lead to like underground parking lots, could lead to like, gigantic fields of flowers and stuff, could lead to the original Exit 8, could lead to all these other things, and it just they're doors that lead to lots of different places in horror. Like one of them will literally lead to like where the Tremors are, if you remember that movie, Tremors, and like the sandworms that would like kill people and stuff. And yeah, and they take a bunch of enemies from different horror franchises, like kind of not the exact enemies, but obviously inspired by them. Yeah. So like I don't know how many Stephen King movies you've seen, but like I walked through one of the doors and there was like a like pawn shop in front of me, but I could see off in the distance like Langoliers literally eating the world, and I was like, those are fucking Langoliers. That's cool.
That one's random for sure.
Super random. I immediately knew what it was, and I was like, that's so cool. And there's a bunch of different things like this, and essentially you go into these worlds, you open up different doors, which then lead you to different worlds, and it's very much a mindfucky kind of thing where you're going through all these doors and trying to avoid these entities and these monsters that are trying to kill you, and you are trying to get these items, and these items are like these anomaly items. So like it might be something like a computer that tells you the future or tells you how to become like the best person at the best person you can be, or like makes you powerful or whatever, but you have to like solve these puzzles to be able to get it. So you have to solve a way to like get your manager that you're faking working for in this like thrift store that I told you about with the Langoliers and all that stuff in this other door world. You have to trick them into going someplace so that you could take the key from them, so that you can get into the room, so that you can take the computer, so that you can bring it back to your base and put it down, and then you can bring it. You can have it sent off to like labs to be explored to find out what the hell that anomaly was. And this game was really, really fun and really difficult also. But it was the kind of difficulty that was like, okay, we're having fun while dealing with crazy bullshit, as opposed to the other game that I was talking about, where the difficulty was because it was jank, because it was broken, because it didn't work. This one did work. It was just really hard, but the difficulty led to it being a lot of fun, especially as you were exploring and finding new rooms and new worlds and new monsters that you have to avoid. And I thought this one was probably one of the better ones in this genre.
I like the
That I played
concept. This
during
is
this.
interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's super neat. I liked this one. Like I really liked this one. This is one I'm actually added to my wish list, and I'm looking forward to in the future to see what they end up doing when it does release, since it's not out yet and we don't know when it's coming out. But this one looked
Yeah.
cool.
No, it
This one
does.
was
And
fun.
I think this one has a lot of potential,
I do
I
too,
would
because they could
say.
draw from a lot of different like horror mediums to add to this. And there
Yeah,
are
and
already a lot just in the like demo that we got to play. So,
absolutely. And it gives them, yeah, like you said, a lot of room to play around with.
mhm.
And because of the doors concept, it really doesn't lock them into anything in particular either.
Exactly. Exactly.
So if they were like, feedback from this kind of play test, honestly, probably be huge for them, because they could be like, oh, we really like these ideas and we can build on this, or these ideas don't
Mhm.
really seem to be gelling very well with the community. We can kind of, drift away from those. But yeah, I
Exactly.
like this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this one was
I,
super cool. I liked
mhm.
this one a lot. So that, and then I will list another one that we played, which was called Trash Day, where you play as a bunch of pandas that have found a cart, and you're going around and cleaning up trash from the open world. But it's like a physics platformer puzzle game.
Mhm.
So you're trying to get from one side of the map to the other side while avoiding things like landslides and dogs and bear traps and this, that, and the other, while also maintaining your cart full of trash that you're collecting to be able to make money so that you can repair your cart or you can buy upgrades for it and this, that, and the other whenever you get to like checkpoint areas. And like the tires would become loose and you'd have to be able to get things to like repair the tires. And this one was just very silly. This one did get really frustrating towards the end of it, where we ended up just kind of quitting because it was getting a bit too difficult, to the point where like we kind of completely fucked ourselves, where we lost all our tires and we had no way to really make the wagon move anymore with our trash. So we were kind of screwed unless we wanted to backtrack like, you know, 20, 30 minutes to go get the stuff that we needed and then come back for it. But the general idea for this one, Trash Day, was actually like very fun and very interesting. Again, another one of those in the genre of like the friend slop sort of things, where it requires friends to play this game. It's very like silly. It's very much something that you should be playing with your friends, and for a short amount of time, and then kind of throw it away when you're done with it, that sort of deal. But it was fun. Like that's the thing. Like at the end of the day, it was very fun. The physics of it were all over the place, very silly, and made it just an enjoyable experience. So
Yeah, it looks pretty funny. I like this looking game too.
yeah. Yeah, so I think I think that is the list of all the ones I wanted to specifically talk about. But I'll
Yeah, I
run
think you
through a
talked about your
few
big ones.
of I'll run through a few of the things that I did look into or play that weren't quite that much bigger. So I did play another game called Trashy Cashy, which was really just dumb. Where you play as a guy who, again, this is 100% a clicker game, nothing more. I think they call them incremental clicker games, where as you do more, you get more powerful stuff to be able to click and be able to make more money, and number goes bigger and goes up, that sort of deal. So they drop a trash bag on your desk. You're working for this agency. They won't tell you who they are, and they want you to dig through the trash. They want you to dig through different people's trash. You start out with like lower end trash bags where it's just going to be like literal garbage, but eventually you'll get like more money from digging through some of it, and then like maybe you're digging through some famous people's trash, and some people want some pictures of those shoes they threw out, and you can sell pictures and stuff, and it's very seedy and weird while also just being like not really creepy or anything. It's just like very basic, very nothing. This is the kind of game that I think actually releases tomorrow and will probably be something like $3 or something. um, it's like a person's first project, something very quick and easy to make that they can like get their foot in the door, or maybe they're just dumping a bunch of nonsense on Steam. And I happen to see this one, which this one kind of like got me for a little while. I think I played this one for like 15-20 minutes, somewhere in there, just to kind of see the whole demo of it.
Yeah, what the point of it is, the
what
picture.
the point of it is. And I mean, like, there are a few of these games that I do like, so this one's not necessarily bad. It's just kind of that's what the genre is. It's like a whole lot of nothing, but it's just something to do that's very easy
Yeah, it
to
just
waste
didn't
time
take
with.
you away as take
Yeah,
your
just to like
mind
chill
off
for
as
a
much
bit.
as the other ones. Yeah.
Yeah. And this one was kind of fun. I did like this one, and I did like the idea of this one, because you do go from like having like, I think it's like a skewer to open it up, to like a knife, to like a chainsaw, and then you're getting all this stuff and you're putting it on shelves and you're able to sell it for fast amounts. And then sometimes they'll have star items and you can take pictures of them and sell the pictures to people, or sell them online via the internet instead. And because it's like more popular trash that people want, which is really because you have really shady people that will purchase things from you. And it's just weird, but it's kind of fun in a weird sort of way. I don't know. It's one of those games that's like literal trash. There's nothing to this, but it's kind of cool to see big number get bigger.
Yeah.
And then there was another one kind of like that, but it was a different side of the equation, which was called Pegfinity, which was a like pachinko like game where as you level up in this, you get to put more pegs on the board, and as you put more pegs on the board, they're able to combo more with other things, and so on and so forth. This one feels a lot more like something like your Balatro, or Slay the Spire or something like that, where
Yeah, I
as
can
you
see it.
continue through the whole game, you add more to your score and more to your score, and you get more and more points, and you go further along and make it further and further. And there were a lot of different upgrades that were actually kind of cool. Like eventually you could change your balls into watermelons, and anytime a watermelon hit a certain peg, it would break apart, and as it would break apart, the seeds and other things would hit all the pegs coming down, which would just add more and more to bigger number getting bigger. And this one was kind of fun. This one was actually a lot of fun to play through. Again, it really does scratch that Balatro itch, that kind of thing like that, and I like this one. So
Yeah, I can see that.
there's that.
Looks like a lot of fun.
Yeah. I think that might do it for the ones I played. I have a lot more that I would have wanted to play, but I didn't really. Um, a few of the ones I have downloaded still that I want to look into, and I might talk about next week if they're still up and able to be played, is Riz Dungeon, Skeleton Key to My Heart, which is a dating sim slash dungeon crawler RPG, where instead of fighting the enemies, you try to romance them as you're crawling through a dungeon and get them to help you with making it through the dungeon further and further along the way. Really weird, really different kind of concept. It looks neat though. It looks pretty cool. That's kind of how I feel about that one. It's a different and weird concept that I like the idea of, and I'll probably look into it in the near future. This one ended up being one of the bigger hits, so there's that.
This Riz game?
Yeah, if you look, it has overwhelmingly positive reviews on just the demo.
Wow.
Another one was Retro Space, which is a game similar to something like System Shock, BioShock-esque, where you play as a janitor who is the only person left awake on the ship that they were cleaning up and taking care of, and now there are monsters everywhere, and you have to figure out what happened and kind of explore the horrors of this and find your way, to fix it while going through the ship. This one looked really neat. I've actually been looking forward to this one for quite a while. I didn't get around to playing the demo because I played so many other things. I played a lot of co-op games because I was playing it with Katie as well as my other friends. So, I ended up checking a lot more of those out than the single player ones that I wanted to look into. So there's that.
Yeah, it looks like they're doing a developer stream right now, actually.
That's just a thing they kind of keep up there all the time. That's it's a replay. They do that with things that are that get a lot of attraction. They'll show like replays of past developer streams on the main page, so you can.
So the fact that it says live doesn't mean they're actually playing it. It's just more.
Oh wait, if it says live, it might actually be live. I'm not 100% sure.
Because it's not like the video is not saying the video. The text above the video says live. It's not part of the video. Like I could highlight it. And it wasn't on the other ones. I've never seen it on anything else before.
So I think this might have been a past live stream that they did have. Because I think I've seen this every single time I've gone to this page, to be completely honest, since the demo came out. So I think when they first put the demo out, when Next Fest originally started, this was shown off then, and now it's just kind of on a replay, like a rebroadcast, that sort of deal. So
makes sense.
But yeah, that's one I was looking into. There's a Slay Blade game, which is Beyblade, but it's a roguelike. That sounds fucking cool. Just saying. That's another one of the ones that got a lot of attention and a lot of people ended up liking. I think that might be it for all the ones I played.
Okay.
Like I said, my favorites were Kaido Genkai, the racing game RPG that's kind of like Diddy Kong Racing mixed with, like Need for Speed Underground or something like that, and normal golf game, which was just really cool and different kind of game.
Yeah. I mean, it must be special if you like it, because you do play a lot of golf games, so.
I do, but this one was just interesting, because again, it gave me that feeling of something like, Stanley Parable, mixed with a weird kind of golf game, and that was neat. And then, like I said, Kaido Genkai very much reminds me of Diddy Kong Racing, and I think Diddy Kong Racing is the better kart racer on N64, to be completely honest.
I mean, Diddy Kong Racing's great for certain things, but there's certain things I don't like about it either. I mean,
I love it.
I mean, it's not a bad game, but I mean, it'd be like it's better than Mario Kart 64.
It's in my top 10 N64 games. Period.
I mean, I'm not even saying it's a bad game. I'm just saying like there's some things that did not make that game as appealing to me long term comparatively to Mario Kart. Some of the tracks I don't like as much, really. Okay. The stupid little hovercraft thing can be annoying. And there's one more. The way they gate things in that game I did not like.
I see.
Because there's something weird. I don't remember what it is. I just remember something weird is gated in that game. And it's just a pain in the ass to get to.
Okay.
Well, but I do love the hub world in that game. I love the selection of vehicles. I love the character choices. I think the music's fantastic. Like don't get me wrong, I'm not shitting on Diddy Kong Racing.
Yeah.
I do like that.
Yeah. And like I said, out of all of these that aren't demos, Deada's Disco is fucking fantastic, and I highly recommend it.
So is that part of Steam's Next Fest too, or just
Nope,
did it just
that
happen
was
to be
just
you
a
just bought
game
it at
I
the same time?
bought that happened to be going on at the same time as Next Fest because it was
Okay.
the 1 month anniversary of the game coming out
Yeah.
this month, and they wanted to do something because they were very positively received. If you look on their store page, this had nothing to do with Next Fest. This was just another game that I got during the time of it,
Okay.
and they did really well, and they were like, hey, in honor of our 1 month anniversary, we put the game on sale for $5 off again. So if you've been thinking about picking it up, now's the time. You could do so if you want. And I was like, I have had this on my wish list since before it released, and it was like number 3 on my wish list. And when I saw it was on sale, I was like, yes, I'm getting that now.
You're like, of course. Yeah. That's great.
Absolutely.
All right. I know you had a lot. Anything else you want to talk about?
I don't have anything else.
Okay. All right. I'll talk
That's
about my
just
things.
too much for me.
Yeah, no, it's fair. I don't have a ton to talk about on my things, and they're both things that we've talked about before, so it probably won't be too long. So I went back, I played a little bit more of Yoshi and the Mysterious Book. I do like that game a lot when I play it. I mean, I think it's interesting. Like I said before, it's kind of like a physics puzzler game. You're kind of given like a small stage and kind of basically it's just like find out the biology of these Yoshi creatures, and it's like you go through and you're trying to figure out like, oh, this person or this creature can use like a dart, and we can use to throw into like these dartboard looking things, or it can be used to smash into the ground,
Wait, I thought this was a
or
platformer.
it's a puzzle platformer.
Oh, okay.
So, but it's not like a platformer like Yoshi's Island for
It's
sure. Like
not
this,
like Yoshi's Island. Okay.
no, and that does throw people off because it is not what you expect
I
this
thought
game
this
to
was
be.
Yoshi's Island. I'm gonna be honest. I felt like this was Yoshi's Island from what I'd seen so far.
Yeah, not even close. And there's nothing I feel like
Weird.
from the trailers that would make you think that. So,
A hundred
um,
percent. I thought this was just like another Yoshi's Island. I was looking
yeah,
forward to picking this up like later on in the year and having a nice Yoshi's Island experience, but I don't know.
it's different. It's not a bad game. It's just it's not Yoshi's Island. It does still have things too, like there are flowers hidden in the stages to go through and find. Like there's coins. I don't even know what the coins do, but you can get coins. I haven't figured that out yet. And there's obviously like each of these creatures you're trying to learn more about it. There's like a bunch of different secrets and stuff to kind of explore around with their environments or things that they can interact with. But it's different. I still don't know where I am on this game. It seems to be like a game where I can enjoy for like 30 minutes and I'm good with it.
Oh,
And then I'll come back to it
weird.
again later. Yeah, it doesn't necessarily hold my attention, but if you remember when I talked about it last time, I was like, I'm not really feeling platformers at that time, and it still hasn't really changed. So there's not been much on my side that's really incentivized me to play this game more than I already have been. But it's interesting. So I mean, I do like what I played so far. I didn't write it down, but I forgot about it. I have been kind of working through some of those DK challenges that they did announce with the direct. I think those are really cool. I enjoyed those. I finished all the retro challenges. All I have left are the Bonanza challenges, which are slightly more annoying because you have to go to where you need to go in the game. So that's kind of thing. I did like though when I booted it up, it was like, hey, you already did these things, so you can already have these.
Oh, I had
So,
those. I had that same thing happen to me. I was like, oh, okay, cool.
yeah, they're like, here's all the boss stuff. Here's the other ones. They're like, just kind of work on these challenges that we left for you. But it's like, go to this. It's like, go to a bonus stage and get 6,000 gold. Do I really have to figure that out? Can't you just tell me where a good one is to go find it? Can't you just start me there like you do with the retro stages? No, you have to go and find it. Even things like it's like, oh, do a zebra bonanza. Like, it doesn't just give it to you. You have to do it. So I mean, granted, I have 3 months or whatever, 2 more months at least to do it. I may. We'll see. I really think it's a neat thing, and I hope that and I'm sure they probably will, especially if with Ocarina of Time coming out this year. I definitely could see them being like in September, being like, okay, well, DK challenge is done. Now it's Legend of Zelda challenge time. But I'm also surprised. I was thinking about it. I was like, they really didn't. They did the retro games like on the Super Nintendo and Game Boy, and they did DK Bonanza. But I mean, they could have done even the other Switch games. I don't know why they didn't do those if it was more of a programming side of things they didn't want to go into, or if it was just they didn't care. Who knows?
Yeah, I think it's probably the latter.
Yeah, probably the latter. Especially as a proof of concept, you really don't have to go too crazy. I think they did a good job on that side of things. So I'm really curious to see though what happens when this is done. Do the cards disappear? Do they go somewhere interesting? Nobody knows.
That is true. I wonder what's going to happen to them.
Yeah. The other thing that I've been playing mostly to get ready for the game that's coming out next week is Rhythm Heaven.
Is
Oh,
it already
Megamix.
out?
No, the demo
Okay.
came out today though. There's a
Okay.
demo
All right.
out now. It
That's
just
cool.
came out today, so that is there. I haven't played that yet, but the new Rhythm Heaven Groove comes out next week. There was the Treehouse stuff, which I watched a bit. There's some interesting stuff that they're doing in this game. I'm really kind of excited to see what that RPG mode is like because it sounds interesting. But anyways, in the meantime, I've been playing Megamix because it's been a little bit since I've gone back to that, just to kind of get myself reacclimated to the series. And I always love Rhythm Heaven. I think it's one of my favorite Nintendo series, and especially it's just pretty neglected. But it is nice to kind of go through and revisit some of the great music kind of mini games that they had before. Some of those games have great music and they have great things. Actually, we bought a Bose speaker to go camping with,
Oh, cool.
and I was like, "Well, let me try this out because it's just a Bluetooth speaker." And I have this thing that I bought for when we go traveling to hook up to the airplane entertainment so we can listen to it with our own headphones. So I was like, well, let me try this idea and see if I can hook my 3DS up to this Bluetooth speaker to see what it's like. And it's great. It really, Bose is really known for their good speaker quality. So had incredible sound. So it was really nice to play with that. Like there, obviously latency is a little bit of an issue anytime you're using wireless speakers, but it really seemed to work okay for me. So that was interesting. But I do love a lot of the things like a lot of the old rhythm games. So if they don't include those in Groove, which I don't think they have done, I would love to see them do like a nice port of Megamix to the Switch. It sounds like a strange request, but Megamix really included most of the music game like mini games that had been in Rhythm Heaven before. So it's a nice package to really kind of give you a lot of what was already available. And then obviously you would have Groove on top of that. So um, I'm very excited for this game. It looks like they have a lot of fun, neat ideas kind of brewing in between like the multiplayer and like the single player stuff. And that was one thing that was great about Rhythm Heaven. I really suck at the subtitles. Rhythm Heaven, I don't remember what the Wii one was called. That one. And because I had some really neat multiplayer kind of modes in there too. So it was nice to see them bring them back. I really laughed because I watched the Treehouse one. They started out with the mini game, like the multiplayer mini game where everyone's grabbing for like the piece of cake and you have to time it out. And literally Bill Trinan on the first one nails it like perfect to like 1/100th of a second, like 000. And everyone's losing their shit. They're like, you're gonna make it look so easy, and this game is not. Um, which really, if you're trying to count down time in your head, it usually is. So that was kind of cool for Groove. But I plan on playing that demo today, so I'll have that to talk about next week. Star Fox comes out Thursday, so we'll have that to talk about next week too. I'm pretty excited for that. A
Interesting.
review accidentally leaked for it today, and it was decent. It was about what I expected to be 8 out of 10.
They were like,
So
it's Star Fox 64. Here you go.
yeah,
That's
basically.
essentially what it
I
was.
I think the review literally had a line in there is like, if you played Star Fox 64 or Star Fox 3D, you already know what you're getting. So yeah, and I mean that's really what you want this game to be. Star Fox 64, like I talked about it when they said it last time. You know, it's annoying that we're getting the same game that we've had remade already 3 times, but
Yeah.
it also is there's a reason why it is a very good game, and I'm glad they're not trying to sell it at like $80. So,
Yeah, that is good.
yeah, and I think there were some rumors too that there was some extra content in there somewhere. So we'll see, kind of as it comes out later this week. Apparently, this
Isn't it
game is
just the prologue? Isn't that what it was?
I don't remember. It was like the prologue. There's those kind of
You
mission
get to play as
modes.
Fox's dad or some shit. Wasn't that something like they mentioned?
I don't even remember. You could play Star, like if you got all the medals unlocked in Star Fox 64, you quote unquote played as Star Fox's dad because you got his like
No, like
sunglasses.
a story mode mission where you play as his
I
dad.
don't think so. They showed the
I've seen a
prologue
cutscene for
story.
it. I've seen a
Yeah,
cutscene for it.
they showed the cutscene. It's in the demo.
Mm-hmm.
The cutscene is like you can watch it, but I think it's just kind of like the intro. I don't think you actually play anything there.
Okay.
I don't know. We'll find out tomorrow. So
Wait, it
yeah,
comes out tomorrow?
Thursday. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So yeah, so that's there. But otherwise, that's really all I have to talk about this week.
Okay.
There is one news story I forgot. We do have one big
We've got
news
some
story
news.
that we have to talk about.
Oh yeah.
Are
we thinking of the same one?
I don't know how it couldn't be, but you never know.
All right.
You want to say it on 3?
Yeah.
1, 2, 3. Steam console.
Steam machine. Yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah, we got to talk about this. I think. Also, I just saw a new interview where essentially Valve was interviewed and they said the way it works right now is companies are giving them the price for RAM, and if they say no, then that company doesn't talk to them again.
Yeah,
so
I saw that too.
They literally have no choice at this point for how much they're paying for RAM. They don't have a supplier, unlike other companies. They don't have a contract, unlike other companies such as your Sonys, your Nintendos, your Microsofts, that sort of deal. So they're kind of fucked. But that does not excuse what we are about to talk about. Steam Machine, it has its price. It's out now. Well, not out. It may never be out, to be honest, for some people. So base price for the Steam Machine gives you a 512 gigabyte SSD, and that is $1,050.
Yeah, that's wild.
It is insane, and it doesn't come with a controller.
Wild.
It will be $1,128 if you want the controller with the 512 gigabyte version. And for 2 terabyte, it's $1,349, and for 2 terabyte with a controller, it's $1,428. Insane prices, absolutely insane prices.
Yeah, Gabe, I think I'm good. To be honest,
I mean, if this would have been $750, which is apparently the price they originally wanted to put it at, I still don't know how good the value would be, but it would be way better for $1,000. And I know it's not necessarily their fault at this point because they literally don't have a choice. For $1,000, this is a ripoff. There is no way I can sugarcoat this, glaze Valve in any way whatsoever. Like, I understand it's not their fault, but this is unacceptable.
Yeah,
for
they needed
$1,050. This is just bad.
Yeah, honestly, their biggest failing, they needed to get that price under $1,000, or I think that alone,
preferably under 800. That's what
preferably under 800. But I think for most people, over $1,000 is an instant dead on arrival.
Not going to happen. Yeah.
I don't think, and especially without a controller on top of that.
Yeah.
I'm sure, obviously, if it's a Steam machine, Steam works very well with a lot of controllers. So
it works with every controller.
You have one you have at your house, maybe you can use.
But, I mean, I use Xbox controllers on my Steam games. It's totally fine. So you can use any to at least give them that benefit of the doubt. Any controller you hook up to this computer will work. Like, that's just how SteamOS is. SteamOS is very good about reading peripherals. They just kind of don't give a shit. You find some random Chinese controller, it's gonna work. That's how good they are about peripherals.
So most people are not going to have any issues on that side of things, but it still is kind of a, like, if for some reason you only have one, do you really want to go through and fuck around with it every single time? Like,
what do you mean by that?
Well, curious. Like for example, like if I'm going to, let's say I bought one myself, and I wanted to use my Switch Pro controller.
Which
I would not want to have to go through and resync it to each device every single time that I want to use
it. That's fair. That is fair. Because I mean, it's not that difficult, like, for instance, with the Xbox or the PlayStation 5
even with the Switch one, it's just plug in the USB cord and press the home button. But like, do I want to get off my couch to fuck around with it every single time?
No, I understand what you're saying there. Here's the thing. On top of this, we also have performance.
Uh-huh.
And oh boy, let me show you some stuff. Uh, Here is an image. This is an image of the new 007 game running on a Steam machine versus running on someone's computer that they made that is better than a Steam machine and cheaper than a Steam machine and still small form factor.
Yeah.
So, to put into perspective, the Steam machine runs medium settings, 4K, 007 First Light, 39 FPS. This computer that was made for, I think, under 1,000, I think 857, 899, somewhere in there, 64 FPS.
Yeah. Big
So this is
difference.
just someone making their own computer and putting it together. So obviously you got to take that into account. But doing that and having these kind of frame rates compared to the Steam machine is crazy. So we're talking like double and sometimes even triple the frame rates of Steam machine with the same like budget and even
Yeah.
a cheaper budget with better hardware. At this point, even with the hardware crisis and problems we have, you are better off building your own computer as opposed to buying a Steam machine. And that is
Yeah.
insane.
Unfortunate. Yeah, I'm not even sure what Steam should have done with this kind of idea.
I legitimately think the only thing they could have done was canceled it until further notice. That's the only thing I think they could have done. Just
Yeah, I mean, I don't even
not
know.
Released it. But
Yeah,
here's the thing.
cancel's not really the right word. But yeah.
Technically, they didn't release it because have you read how you are able to purchase the Steam machine?
No.
You don't get to purchase the Steam machine. You enter a lotto for the ability to purchase a Steam machine. If you get picked, you can buy a Steam machine. Otherwise, you can't even buy one.
Yeah, this is just poorly thought of all around.
It's terrible. It's an awful, awful idea.
They should have really done. They should have taken a page from Nintendo's book with like the Game Boy Advance when they were working on that era, because if you remember the story, kind of how it went, they were working on the Game Boy Advance, and or what would eventually become the Game Boy Advance, like that generation of hardware, and then all of a sudden, like the Pokemon came out, and like the OG Game Boy just took off like a rocket, and they're like, you know what? Why don't we just sit on this a little bit longer and let it bake? Like, that's really what Steam should have done. Be like, you know what? The market's not right for this machine, but we have a good idea. Yeah.
Looking at the current market space, the market is never going to be good for this machine, and it's never going to get better. So maybe if they sat on this for a year, it would have been $1,200 as the base price instead. The prices aren't going down; they're only going up for components.
Well, they are right now, but the thing is, it's like one of those, like, you know, they
been saying it for 2 years. I don't think it is going.
I mean, they've been
down.
saying it for 6 years because it's been going on since the pandemic in some way, shape, or form.
Yes, but
there's always something that's taking those components away.
Yes,
but really though, I mean, you're like, wow, the market's not there, but there are things that they could do.
Have we seen any drop in prices this generation? I think we've only seen a price increase across the board on literally everything.
I'm trying to think. Yeah, I don't think anything. I mean, the Switch 1 may have had a drop and then went back up. I don't recall, but
I don't think it did even. I think actually the Switch 1's OLED actually went up in price, if I recall correctly.
Well, I think they all did recently, but I'm saying I think there was a point maybe where like the Switch and like the Switch Lite had maybe a price drop at some point. Maybe when the Switch OLED came out. I don't even remember. It's been so long and so negligible at this point. But really, I guess what I'm trying to get at with the Steam machine though is, so yeah, I agree with you. Like, those parts aren't going to get it any cheaper.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if they sit and wait on it, you know, how do I put this? There's always going to be new things that are going to come out. They could always even maybe look at, like, they're looking at releasing this now. So obviously, if you're trying to get components now to release a device, these companies aren't going to play around much with negotiation. But if you're like, hey, we want to release this device in 2 years, And
Yeah,
this is
and
what we're
then you're
looking
going to be paying $2,000 instead of 1,000. I don't think things are going down. Like that's the thing. That's what I think they saw. I think they saw that these prices aren't going to go lower. They're only going to get higher. So they decided we have to release this now, otherwise we will never release this.
But if
That is
the
my theory currently with
that's
how everything is.
that's always the risk. I mean, there
Yeah.
is always the possibility that, like, you know, I always feel like, at least in this day and age, like the general consensus in the population is that there are, one big story away from full on revolt over AI and data centers.
Mm-hmm.
If that happens, that will really collapse that pricing market, and it would make it more favorable. Like, there are definitely things that could happen that would make it more favorable, or even too, like,
So I will say, I think.
$12,000 price point for this machine is not agreeable right now with this market. But what
Uh-huh.
if you're looking at PlayStation 6, where, like, I mean, that theoretically could even be more expensive than what they're looking at here.
So I will
Like,
say this right now, right?
mhm, yeah,
If there is some kind of revolt or AI takes the bubble pops and something happens and the price of components and stuff goes down, I would not put it past Steam, and I'm being serious because of the track record. I would not put it past Steam to refund people a chunk of their payment on this system to offset that pricing if the bubble were to pop in the next, let's say, 6 months. I would not put it past them. They would probably directly put it into their Steam account, so it still gets funneled back into them. But I think they would do that. I think that would happen based on their track record.
yeah. I mean, that would be good on them if they did something like that.
I don't think it'll
I
happen, but
No, I
I
don't
think
think it will
it's
happen either.
something that
But
could happen if that
yeah,
was the case.
because I was reading too. I mean, just kind of the reason that I kind of suggested that as an option was I do recall reading not that long ago that, like, a lot of the stuff that's component wise, like memory and stuff like that,
Yeah,
that is very
RAM,
expensive right now.
RAM.
It's spoken for, but it's not really.
It's not being used. It's literally not being used right now.
Yeah, because the data centers aren't being built, so they have all these orders for these things for places that don't necessarily exist and may not
Exist. Yeah.
exist. Yeah,
Hmm.
so it's really like, if that kind of continues in that path, they're going to be making all this stuff that's not going to get sold, and all of a sudden, like, that market will kind of like fall out underneath itself. So it is possible that there is a reason to think that it may be favorable for them to kind of sit on it. And the other option is too,
But
because they
then you
had
look at
built this
things
as
like.
a platform, they could have released it as like, hey, here's the platform, here's the machine we're working on, this is
Mhm.
coming down the road. But for now,
Wait,
you
when you
can
say
build your
built it
own
as a
Steam machine.
platform, what do you mean?
They built something in, and I do not recall what it is now because I had just read it on Reddit, and my mind is going too fast to recall exactly what it is.
Okay.
But they basically made it so that any PC can kind of work as a Steam machine
Oh
in
yeah,
terms of the
SteamOS.
features that
Yeah,
they
SteamOS.
are integrating into it.
Yeah,
Um,
SteamOS. That's a
yeah,
thing that's already existed pretty
it's
much
already
since
existed, but
Steam
there's
Deck.
some new features with it that are coming out with the new release, that make it a little bit more
Yeah, I
approachable.
mean, they haven't done the installer yet, like a direct installer, kind of like
Hmm.
how Windows has for like Windows 11, for instance. But that's planned. They're also planning to allow uh, NVIDIA cards
Hmm.
in the future because right now it only works with AMD cards because the architecture that it's built off of. So there's that to keep in mind as well. So there are some prerequisites for being able to build your own Steam machine.
Okay. Yeah.
But
Sounds
you
reasonable.
can do that right now. I mean, the machine I showed you is running on SteamOS, is using those prerequisites, is using an AMD card, is using an AMD CPU, is using like components that are AMD branded, essentially, so that they can run SteamOS. And that is what they are getting with their computer that they built for a Steam machine versus the actual Steam machine. So those
Yeah.
two pictures I showed you, which are significantly better quality with this fake Steam machine versus the real one.
Yeah.
So yeah, something to keep
Or
in mind
even too, I mean, honestly, even kind of another neat idea that you could have done. I just thought of this one too.
there. Hmm.
Partner with a website that kind of sells, you know, computer equipment,
So
and just
Steam did this in the past, and it was not good. It did not end up well for them.
um. So what I was going to suggest was, I'm not talking about like pre-built machines.
Hmm.
I'm talking about like hey, here's the components that we would recommend, like kind of like those pieces. Basically, give people the option to kind of mix and match and
Mm.
build it themselves, to kind of like what they would consider like their standard. But then, especially if you have a seller that's there, you can be like, okay, well, you know what? Instead of the 512 hard drive, why don't we, here's the terabyte option. You
Hmm.
could even do something, maybe even too, like have it flashed with Steam, so something like that. So it could just be like, once you have this installed, it should just be turn on and go.
Hmm.
Um, but kind of trying to think about how I would have
Basically,
described
sell
it.
their Steam OS to boutiques instead of. Is that what you're saying? Like, make it so other people use Steam OS? Like, I don't know, for instance, something like CyberPower or whatever has like a Steam OS version of a computer, and like Steam partners with them in that way. Is that what we're saying? I don't
I'd
really
say, like, let's say you
understand.
go to, like, let me say, I'll just pick a website. Is Newegg still around? Is that still a place
Oh
where you can
yeah,
buy a
yeah.
computer shop? Okay,
Neweggs great.
so I'll just use Newegg as an example, just because that's what I know. So let's say you go to Newegg and you're like, okay, I want a Steam machine,
Newegg's
and
kind
so
of like I was gonna say Newegg's kind of like a parts builder, not a pre-built thing though.
yes, exactly. That's exactly what I'm talking about.
Okay.
I'm not talking about pre-builts.
Okay.
So I'm saying, like, especially this, and I feel like especially for people like yourself, where you might be more inclined to build your own PC.
Hmm.
Um, you kind of go in there and be like, okay, you go to their Steam machine page, and you'll be like, okay, well, you pull it up, it pulls up their kind of base recommended like equipment. Be like, okay, well, here's the recommended hard drive, here's the recommended memory, here's the recommended thing. Maybe even one of the features is they have like a set um like box that you can put it in or whatever.
Mm.
And then you kind of be like, you going through, you pick the pieces that you want. It's not shipped to you as
I
an
think
assembled
selling
machine.
Steam machine cases would be like a really good thing. Like
Yeah.
they if they sold cases for like a Steam machine so that you could build your own, I think it would go over way better than the whole
That's what I'm
system.
talking about. Yeah, like literally, it's like you go there and like, here's, like, I don't know, like how many components would be there. But like, here's your case, here's your motherboard, here's your RAM. Da 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 da. You can go and maybe flip around certain pieces. Like, oh, I don't, like I said, I don't want. I would rather have more RAM. Put a little bit more RAM in there, or like, whatever. Yeah, you pick all the pieces that you need for it. It sends the cases. Kind of like I said, that's the big thing. That's kind of the visual unifying part of the whole device.
Hmm.
And you do it, you order it, because you're not having it assembled, the pieces will kind of come as they do, maybe even from different, places. They'll all come, you assemble it together, you have your own Steam machine, built. And that honestly would even save you cost, because you're not paying to have people manufacture it. You're not
Mm.
paying to have people assemble it. You're not having, all that extra stuff. You get to do it yourself. You get to make it, fine tune it basically the way that you want, and you get kind of, like I said, you have that unifying case, so it feels like you have your own Steam machine, because you do, but not necessarily at their kind of markup cost. You can make things, or even too, like, yeah, especially for people who already build their own PCs, like, hey, here's your case, but I already have a great hard drive that I could put in here. So
Hmm.
instead of the Steam's 512, I'll stick my own terabyte in there. Bing
Hmm.
bang boom, done. Like, I think that would give people more latitude to do it, and not, and it would bring down the cost. And I think, especially for PC stuff, it would be there. Obviously, you could still have pre-builts. Like, I think that there's definitely a market for those. Like I said, I'm not much of a PC builder, so I would be more inclined to do a pre-built machine if I was going to, but
Hmm.
not for $1,000 without a controller. I can tell you that. If I
Yeah.
really wanted it, I would go through and I would just assemble it. It's not like it's that hard to necessarily assemble them. You just have to know what you're doing. And that's the other nice thing with something like this too, where, if you're kind of working with their, recommended parts, they can really give you good material and good assistance to kind of help put that machine together properly.
Hmm.
And really, I guess, learn more about your computer as you're doing it as well. Um, I think something like that could work well for, this as an alternative. I guess my point is,
So there is a
I'm so hung up
gigantic
on this
elephant in the
cost.
room. There's a
Yeah.
gigantic elephant in the room. The gigantic
Aside from the
elephant in the
cost?
room. Yeah, actually, it goes alongside the cost. The
Okay.
gigantic elephant in the room is you could literally buy a PS5 Pro and have a better experience. And that is not a sentence that anyone wants to say.
No, and
That's
it is
not
true,
a
though.
good sentence to say, and it is the truth. That is the
Yeah.
truth. You're going to have a more powerful system. It's going to run better. You're going to be locked down to PlayStation's ecosystem. So if that doesn't bother you, then it's whatever. But if that does bother you, then then maybe the Steam Machine is for you. That sort of thing. But you aren't going to have as powerful of hardware with the Steam Machine. It's just not good hardware at
Nope.
all.
Yeah.
And that's a problem. That's a very big problem.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's the thing, obviously if you have a Steam library, like for someone like you have probably hundreds and thousands of dollars of games on Steam, like for you to lose access to those games, like, yeah, obviously you're going to be
Rebuilding that library on your PS5 or something, that's going to be really expensive. But the same time, realistically, you're not going to be able to rebuild a lot of that library, and a lot of that library probably isn't going to work on the Steam Machine. So it is what it is.
That's
But
also
then there is the problem of, like, you would also have to pay the yearly fee of like $199 or $120, somewhere in there, for PlayStation Plus to be able to play online. So there is that. So there are hidden costs, obviously, but I think the overall just setup and play experience, you'd be better off just buying a PlayStation 5 or a PlayStation 5 Pro at this price point. It's not worth it.
Yeah.
There are a lot of compromises too. Like, some of the most valued games, like the most played games on consoles, are things like Fortnite. You can't play Fortnite on the Steam Machine. You just can't. So if that's your main game, there's no reason for you to buy a Steam Machine.
Yeah.
It's not for you.
Yep, exactly. So, yeah, they got issues. So I don't know. Hopefully,
They do have issues.
I honestly cannot imagine that this does well, and especially too, like you said, it's so comparatively underpowered.
Yeah,
Um,
it's a huge disappointment. It's a very big disappointment.
yeah,
And you can't pretend that it isn't. It just is. Like, anyone that's pretending that this is good is either an actual Steam fanboy or just don't understand technology, because this is not a good price point. Even the $800 price point or $750 price point would have been kind of stretching it if it would have launched at that price. But for $1,050 with no controller, that's just insane. And again, I know it's not their fault, but it's not acceptable for the performance that you get with this thing.
No, I agree. And yeah, because even like you said, if it was $800 just to be, price parity with the PlayStation, like, you're still getting a worse experience significantly.
Yeah.
It's not
Granted, like I said, you do have to think about those hidden costs as well. You do have your games that are online for free. So there is that to take into account. But from a just graphical horsepower standpoint, you are getting a worse experience. So there's that. But you do have a more open experience. You have a lot more choices, because, like, there's so many things that you can do with the Steam Machine. There is a pros and cons list there to be had, but we don't even need to talk about that list with the price point that it's currently at. If we had the old price point, and if it was closer to what I talked about, the $750, $800 range, then that's when we would go into this conversation about, like, the open ecosystem and the many more games that you can play, and the fact that it can be used as an actual PC with, like, a desktop, and being able to download desktop apps like Discord or this, that, and the other, and not having to pay for online and all this other stuff. But at the end of the day, that doesn't matter to someone that wants to play games. What matters is having games run well, and this just isn't going to do it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, I should not be, like, over here, like, kind of questioning where in the hierarchy of graphics it falls with, like, the modern systems, especially being, like, handedly more expensive.
So if you play at 1440p or 1080p, this is totally fine for you. If like, you don't care about 4K, then you are fine with this system. And I don't think you're really going to notice much of a difference. But I do think that if you are a pixel peeper, a person who wants to argue about 4K versus 1080p and high res and this, that, and the other, I do think there's a bigger conversation to have here. And that conversation is the fact that you just aren't going to get that 4K with as well as the consoles are doing it, because it isn't really designed that way. And that's a problem, because that's the way it was sold initially, which is not good. And that's before even getting into the problem of this console barely does ray tracing. That's a huge problem. When you have games like Indiana Jones, right? You have Indiana
that was
Jones.
The first one that came to mind. But there's a lot that do.
Or Doom the Dark Ages. You have these two games that I'm going to point to first and foremost, where it's baked in. Ray tracing is just a requirement. You can't turn it off. It just exists. You've got a problem. You've got a very big problem, because when you don't have the ray tracing cores to push that, and you're getting very low frame rates on a Steam machine, for instance, with these games they're kind of older titles now, it's not like they just released. They are older titles now. So if those older titles are not really being pushed by the Steam machine and not really being handled well by the Steam machine, who's to say any of the upcoming titles are going to, at all, as more games start doing this sort of thing? I think the Steam machine has a potential to become completely, what's the word I'm looking for? Obsolete in a very short amount of time, if it isn't already.
Yeah. I said it's dead on arrival. I mean, the only nice thing it has going for it is because it is a PC-based platform. It's not like with PlayStation, or, well, actually really where Xbox is right now, where, it doesn't have the market, so people aren't going to make games, where people are going to still make games for PC. So, you will have those available. But, if it's such a low amount of people, they may not make it optimized for it. They may not take the time for that. Who knows? I'm sure the consumer friendly devs will, but the ones that don't have time for it, if they're like, hey, we got to optimize between A or B, and they're not going to optimize for the Steam machine. They'll go for whatever pretty much anything else is.
It's just not going to happen.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's an example, right?
Yeah.
So if you were to take a Ryzen 5 5600X and a RX 9060 XT and run it at 1440p low settings with Doom the Dark Ages, you get 63 FPS. Okay? So you're right there over the 60 FPS mark. Okay. If you were to run the Steam machine, you get 35.
Okay.
You can't even, and that's the same benchmark, that sort of thing. And to put that into perspective, you can pay a lot less for the two things I named versus the actual Steam machine. So
I said I personally, I think they should have sat on this for a little longer, even if it meant waiting and hoping for better pricing, because even too, if they have the right device and they're ready to make a big order for it, you can always, how do I put this? The larger your order, the more sway you're going to have on pricing. So you may even be like, hey, we're going to target larger production numbers. Maybe we can get more favorable there. Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, they're in a tough place right now. So good luck, I suppose.
Yeah, I don't see this. The thing is, I don't know how much it matters, because the fact that they're doing a lotto system in the first place to even sell it, I don't think they even have enough. I don't think they even want to. Maybe they're already holding back, so hoping that the prices will go down, and that's the reason why we're on a lotto system for the thing in the first place. That's one of my assumptions. But there's also the fact that, what's your plans? What are your plans if no one from the lotto system even buys it? What are you gonna do?
Yeah, that's not a good thing. I mean, who knows? The lotto system might
I do have some examples. So I have PS5 performance mode settings For Crimson Desert, 50 FPS. Steam Machine, same settings, Crimson Desert, 42 FPS. So we are a whole almost 10 FPS lower than the PS5 with the same settings. Like a base PS5. We're not even talking about like PS5, Pro or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, just the regular.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nope, that's no good. No good. All right. What else do you want to say about the Steam Machine?
I don't know, man. It's pretty much it. I'm done. I don't have anything to say about this thing. I'm really disappointed in what it is, even though I understand what's going on essentially.
Yeah.
But it still sucks, and this could have been the chance to be able to do something like push, Linux gaming, to push people to play on PC, in a console like experience, to get more people into the space and to kind of beat out Windows with its awful dog shit operating systems and whatnot, and move on and try to go forward. But when you are limping out of the gate, that's a much harder sell.
Yeah, I agree. All right. What else news-wise? Anything else you want to talk about?
No, I think that might honestly be it news-wise that I have. I don't really have anything else.
That's all I had.
I saw some games got delayed, but like whatever.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll wrap up then. All right. Well then. Thank you everyone for listening to us this week. Don't forget to find us on iTunes, Stitcher, Google, Amazon, YouTube, wherever you get your podcasts. If you want to reach out to us, gamecrunchcast@gmail.com. And all of our old episodes are available on Game-Crunch. Is that right? Game-Crunch.com. Yeah, there we are. I don't know why. It just sounded very weird today. All right, Brandon, any final thoughts?
Nope, I got nothing. Man, check out Dead as Disco if you can.
Yeah, it looks like a lot of fun, especially
it's
too.
Super fun.
Yeah, I mean, I bet if you search up Dead as Disco and Michael Jackson, I bet that video will come up for people who want to see it. I think that was really cool. That I think actually was a really neat way to showcase the game, especially because too it does show off, like you were saying, like it's like you are Michael Jackson. Like you even did like the kind of some of the same moves.
Yeah, that was clearly a mod that someone installed, but like that's the kind of thing you can do with this as a PC game. So
yeah. Mm-hmm. All right. On that note, my name is Mike Anastasia. You can find me online on Clash of Penguin there or on your favorite gaming console. Until next week, game on.
Game on. now recording. Fucking clankers.
I know. The the Google Docs. I don't know when I messed up the numbering, but it should be right now, so that's good. Oh wait, no, Google Doc is not ready.
I'm confused. I'm like, I haven't gotten an update, so.
No, I started changing it, but I was just editing the old one instead of making a new one. That's the issue.
I see.
Yeah, there we go. 6, 7, 9.
Wait, aren't we on 6, 7, 8?
That's what I thought, but last episode was 6, 7, 8.
What the fuck?
Yep, this is 6, 7, 9. And I checked the numbers. We've done all the last 8 ones, so I just must have mislabeled it at some point, maybe for like a game debate or probably actually for the episode where we just talked about
anything.
No, the Nintendo Direct and the Xbox Showcase, because we probably didn't use a dock that week, so I probably just missed the numbering.
It makes sense.